Well, this is a turn up for the books, isn't it?
That we're here, that we're talking to one another still.
I guess not really.
I mean, it is a turn up for the books in the grand scheme of world events. Who knew that the planet would still be spinning?
Is there? Actually, I had a message from a friend on the during the week saying that things were pretty bad, but I hadn't quite clocked the scale of the things he was talking about.
Well, I mean, which war on which front was he concerning himself with?
I think it might have been a wicked combination.
Yeah, because it's like, Palestine continues apace. So does the Sudan. Where else can we think about? Of course, Iran. So that's just some geopolitical stuff. There's a lot of conversation about ICE, which I find interesting. And it's just all going on.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, then there's the climate crisis, which is buffeting, I think, Europe at the minute. Did Sassari suffer from Storm Kristen, or did Sassari survive?
I don't know. I mean, I think it survived. I haven't heard. I haven't heard that it didn't survive.
No, I by survive, I don't mean did it not fall into the sea. I
saw something about that because I watched some Italian news and they mentioned some area, sort of large area of coastline along Sicily. That's really in grave danger of just sort of tumbling into the sea.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good way to start. This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
I had a strange... Well, it depends on whether you want to get into this.
Well, I don't know what it is. Unless somebody looked you in the eye and said, Simon, would you come with me to the cottage?
Well, it's funny.
We're going to have so much fun. Don't go to Russia. Come to my house. We could be completely alone.
There is no chance of me going to Russia.
No.
I think you know this, but I'm in a... thought I'd share this with you because I think it kind of relates to something that we talked about last week. Or that you mentioned that I thought we could talk about. Mm-hmm. And as you know, this year, I think it's in May, there's a high school reunion for me.
Yes,
40 years.
In the sea of Newland.
Yes, and I'm on a WhatsApp group.
Right.
Which... Yeah, it's not massively busy, but there's quite a lot of, do you remember this?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And one of them said, the PE teacher, I'm quoting, the PE teacher on first day, quote, "Don't stand behind me because statistically a couple of you will turn out to be poofters." And someone, did smiley face, laughing face response. And I responded, which I think just completely out of tone for a WhatsApp chat. Hi, blah, blah, blah. It's been a while. I totally get the context here of us remembering the kind of shit that went on in those days. But wow, I'm sparing a thought for those of us growing up gay amidst such rampant homophobia. And I say this as someone far from innocent of making similar homophobic jokes, and in quote marks. I so hope it's easier for queer kids these days. And this person, he responded, "There's no colour to it, Simon, or judgment, just merely history as it was." And it really, I don't for a second think in my response that I was implying of having a go at the person for sharing the story. I certainly didn't mean that. Rather than just leaving the story sort of as kind of entertainment for us about wasn't it hilarious in those days, or wasn't it terrible, depending on which side of the fence I guess you would stand. But it did make me think about. So I've dropped into this because I find it. I just don't quite know how to behave in those circumstances, and also don't know enough about WhatsApp in relation to the kinds of expectations. Although I suspect I might have transgressed in that context. And then something that you said last week, which I was really interested in, which was as we were talking about the kind of messiness well, just say the messiness of heated rivalry. I don't know if that's quite right. And you said, I think you said something like, I'm going to hide behind a kind of academic language or something like that. I mean, when I listened back to that, I was really fascinated by that thing, which of course is an academic thing, right? Which is something we do. Mm-hmm. We effectively use language as a way to. It is a way of keeping things at arm's length. It can be a way of keeping things at arm's length. Mm. And I was really curious about this guy I used to go to school with, his use of the word just merely history as it was, as if somehow history is something that his decision to share that story was free of any kind of desire or any kind of need or wanting something to happen. It was just history. And I think the word history was interesting in the sense of, in a way, like hiding behind, well, that's what happened. Mm. And that's enough from me. How are you hearing all these things?
Wow, gosh. I mean, I think first of all, I want to say any observation I make is done in the full recognition that I am not offering a judgment about the individual who I don't know, and it's based upon a sentence. Yeah?
And which, of course, I was not wanting to as well.
And
nor do I want this conversation to be. Absolutely not. Because also, importantly, we were kids.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We were absolutely kids. And I don't know these people. Most of them I don't know at all. I haven't seen them since then. So I have no idea what's happened to them in their lives. But the idea that somehow he is the same person he was then is absurd. Like, I just can't.
Yeah. But I just want to caveat that right at the outset, because even holding words at arm's length, I will probably, in true Miller fashion, become more heated than I intended.
The words might start hitting you in the face, you mean?
Yeah. So, I think what I'd like to do, first of all, is just sort of approach your question about what is or isn't okay on a WhatsApp group.
Oh my God. I mean, I had a bit, I sort of woke up this morning really kind of ruminating on it, going, oh my God, like as if I was still 14 going, have I said the right thing? Yeah. Did I do that? God.
Yeah. I don't think there are appropriate modes of behaviour in WhatsApp. I'm in a variety of WhatsApp groups, not many of them, but what I find interesting is how wildly they veer, as in the groups of people that I am in a WhatsApp group with. And the one that I think creates the most perplexity for me is the Cholups condominium WhatsApp group, where there's been a lot of chatter recently because there has been flooding in the cellar. There are leaks in everybody's building. We were buffeted, really buffeted by Storm Kristen, both in Portugal and in the southwest of England. So, a plague on both my houses, it would seem. But
your capacity to drop Shakespeare in at any point is just bravo, Lee Miller, bravo.
So what happened is
Isn't that Ralph Fiennes?
We knew that there were cracks in the facade on the back that were letting water in, but you remember that our flat is on the top of a hill, and so we just get buffeted, and it means that water comes in and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so the condominium has come into full effect, and there's one person in the condominium who sent this really lengthy message that basically said, I tried to raise this with you all over the summer, so you can just all fuck off. And that was just one moment of real And obviously this is all in Portuguese, so I'm going like, oh, I wonder what that word is. Anyway, the point I'm wanting to circle back to is the kind of the tonality of the messages. So wildly different. Some really placatory, some really like desculpe me, possível. Some are like foda-se. You know, it's like kind of like really all over the place. Yeah. I don't think, Simon, you can say the wrong thing in a WhatsApp group.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, because I know, but I my experience.
I don't think I did in that context, but I think it would be. There's things I've had to bite my breath on previously with the same WhatsApp group.
But that's what I mean. I mean, in the sense that I think you deciding to change the tenor is an indication of the fact that nobody else is policing themselves. That's kind of what I mean when I say you can't say the wrong thing. What I mean is that people will just say whatever they want, and so I think what you did, because this is the bit I want to kick off with, is that I think you did a really beautiful thing, because we don't know who's in that chat and we don't know who's gay.
I mean, there's got to be, right? It's just. I mean, you know,
statistically, you're
hundreds of boys. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, there will be. I will hazard a guess that there's probably a handful of them who have found themselves in heterosexual relationships.
I think that's pretty likely. I
think you making that from what you said, Simon, totally not judgmental. Like, wow, I hope it's easier for queer kids now. Is a really deep sense of empathy and kindness. And I am so terribly proud of you for doing it. And I know that sense of exposure is real, but I'm pretty confident that the guy who sent the message didn't, and probably still hasn't, done the level of soul searching about his message. And again, remember I caveated this with no judgment. So I think I'm saying I'm just proper proud of you for saying something. And, you know, it sets up your stall for when you go over.
Well, I'm definitely not going to the reunion.
You're definitely not.
Well, because it's in May.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I actually think I would. I think I would find it difficult. Not for these reasons, but just it's that kind of relationship with nostalgia, which I have a troubled relationship with nostalgia, Lee Miller, and I think maybe it's different if you. I don't know this, but my guess is it's a little different when you have kids. Because if you have children, you see them growing up, you see, I remember when I was that age, I was doing this. And so there's something about the sort of the circularity or the circularity of lives that, you know, we're circling back and is another generation, you know, and that I'm, so I have to say at the moment, so focused on the next 20 years of my life without like what can be new here as opposed to a kind of, and I think nostalgia, there's something about the temptation of nostalgia to be, all I've got now is to look back. And I am not ready for that. I'm definitely not ready for that yet. So aside from the fact that there's no way I'd fly to New Zealand for that, they've got other things that I would need to fly to New Zealand for that I think take priority, hence, you know, heading over there. But, tricky.
I think, though, there is something about that takes us back to holding words at arm's length and looking at them.
Or using them to hide or to protect or to shield or...
but which I kind of want to say I'd rather do that than use them to wound.
Oof.
Because it's true, we do hide behind things and we do spend more time looking at multiple angles. And I really don't want anybody to hear me saying, if you have an academic training, you are somehow better in the world. Don't mean that. Don't mean that at all. I've met far too many academics to go, oh, this is patently
I think it would
not true.
definitely lean way down the other end of the spectrum, that's for sure. Yeah.
But certainly that idea of kind of wanting to hedge or to caveat or to interrogate or to distance
or middle ground,
is an interesting thing when you are encountering orthodoxy or when you are encountering certainty, because when your schoolmate says it's just history as it was, anybody who's done any bit of academic bit will go, oh, kiddo, ain't no such thing.
Well, I mean, I would have thought actually in the very history class we probably shared together in fourth form that we would have been learning that, that, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, history, well, for one thing, it's told by the victors, but there's just, that's like first level kind of obviousness.
But at the same time, you say it's first level obviousness, but it's kind of maybe the thing that we are told in the abstract when we are being taught history, and then very quickly we're back to almost an uninterrogated relationship to it, which is that that thing about nostalgia and the safety of it. Which we, because we are able to live it, because we were 40 years on from when we were learning it. Yeah. And then we're back to kind of the dispiriting stuff that we started with about, kind of geopolitics and everything that's happening in the world right now. And, it's, I find that we're in a very curious moment in time. I know that you're not all over the news, but a second batch of documents from the Epstein files have been released.
I did see that.
And the Justice Department in the United States of America have just said, yeah, they're fake. That's the response. The response is fake news, and it is. I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't just an indication of a cabal of people who are effectively.
Well, they're gangsters.
It feels. It feels more existential than gangsters, Simon. It feels like. It feels like wizardry, in the sense that reality is being bent around them. This idea that, no, this is the truth, and because we've said it, you have to believe it.
There's nothing new about that, though, is there? It's as old as the hills, really. That's what I mean, though. It's not like that's you're talking about the history of the Soviet Union. You're talking about it's
I mean, it's apocryphal, isn't it? That idea of the shopkeeper who would put the note in the window. Workers of the world unite, and he would put that in every single day because that's what was expected until one day he forgot, and then the regime crumbles around him because one person stopped apparently believing in it. It's just he just forgot to put the sign in the window. But I think it's
I'm sure it's apocryphal, but it's such a great story.
But it's that for me this is the weirdly it's connected back to that idea of smiley emoji, laughy smiley emoji. I'm imagining it's the one with the tears coming out the eyes rather than just the smile.
Yeah, that was the response, when you respond by adding one of those. It wasn't the person who wrote that.
It wasn't the person who wrote it. It was a response.
That was just an exclamation mark, an old classic.
Right. So that's interesting. That gives me a little bit of context that I didn't quite grasp. I thought that he had finished it with the kind of the editorial of the emoji, but no, the response is from somebody else. Because, of course, Anyway. Oh, mate.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the way the direction this conversation is going, because it's very hard to... this extraordinary situation now we have in which the wielding of our phones as video cameras as if somehow that is going to help tell the truth, that help show what happened. And so I'm kind of contradict myself here, and that is, yes, this story is as old as the hills, the story of making up something in order to keep people in line or to save oneself or to protect oneself is, a very, very old story. But it's so highly caffeinated now by technological means which have never existed up until now. And that's not even getting into, this is the direction I don't want this conversation to go into, good old deep fakes. That we're on the verge of being flooded by things which are constructed. Yeah. And so the idea that somehow video is going to be the truth teller is it's gone. I mean, it is gone. It's just gone. It's gone. It's tragic. And literally tragic, of the lives are lost, and
which is probably another reason why nostalgia then gets its hooks into us, because we're looking back to a more innocent time. We're looking back to a moment where, we don't have to go back very far, to remind ourselves that, hang about, once upon a time, not that long ago, we weren't constantly surveilled. And, that's before we get, and, now I'm falling down the path of, I'm not even worried about phones, because at least you can see when somebody's pointing them at you. I'm really bothered about the meta glasses, where you don't know that somebody's pointing them at you because they're just a pair of fucking glasses that somebody's got on their face. And I start to sound like a Luddite. But at the same time, we use technology to just, Yeah,
I think that's where that technology is, in which someone's wearing a pair of glasses, and whoever they look at, they can find out who that person is, what they do. We're there. That's just, and I find that mind-boggling, right? But I think being a Luddite in that sense is, in the historical sense of the word, that's the problem, isn't it? Where it's become skewed. That is, those that want to just question and go, is this really the best thing for our world to do this? Let's just stop for a moment, not anti-technology. And I'm avowedly a Luddite in that sense. Absolutely. I'm so wary of these technologies.
And similarly, but at the same time, I was sitting at a condominium meeting last week where there were 8 people around the table, plus the 2 people who were who are from the condominium company. Everybody's talking in Portuguese, and that when you are still learning the language, following one person speaking to you slowly is challenging.
In a group
of people who are speaking at pace over one another, they're changing. Raquel is sitting opposite us, and at one point she's talking about the condominium, and then she's talking about her daughter who's in the room behind us, and it's just like the flow. It's called conversation. Nothing is surprising.
But also the object pronouns they're the same. But you have to figure out how that's changed, which happens all the time. We're talking about it. You and I will know that the it has changed, but they go, wait, we're talking about a woman now, a human being? Wait, what?
Is it, exactly. Is it the wall or is it your daughter? I'm really confused.
Which is hilarious, isn't it? But that's wow.
But on the table in front of me, on the table in front of Bob, 2 brilliant, the same piece of software, AI-driven translation apps that are working in real time, that allow us, because Bob's microphone is closer to some people and my microphone is closer to other people, between the 2 of us, the 2 of us and the 2 things, we're triangulating all these different sources of information and able to follow what's happening in the room with our relatively low language skills, plus some augmentation, plus some context cues of bodies, plus very occasionally somebody leaning over and whispering in English, "Are you getting this? We're still talking about the cracks." It's like, yeah, that's fine. So it's like, it's that sense of being resistant to technology until you remind yourself, like most tools, it's not the tool, is it? It's what you do with it.
One thing I will say about Bridgerton, it's pretty dull, but wow, I love just how how nonchalant they are about race in that TV show. It's just like the normalization of difference, and I love that. I'm sure that I'm sure it irritates some people. Oh, it's not historically accurate.
Oh, I think we could point to screeds that have been written about that.
Is there really?
Yeah. Are you up to date with the new series?
I've watched 1.5 episodes.
Very well done. I so far have watched none because, of course, rewatching Heated Rivalry.
We should stop this so you can go back and also finish Heated Rivalry.
Yes, I've got just episode 6 to watch again.
Oh, and have you gained something new from the rewatching?
Yeah, I think actually it's a much more subtle, character-driven text than I thought it was. I hadn't realised that it's effectively just two people talking to one another for 6 episodes.
Amazing. You've got a little bit. It's given you space to be a little bit more analytical in the best sense of the word.
Yeah, I just finding myself thinking, there's no B plot. I mean, there's the bottle episode of episode 3, which gives us which gives us the motor in episode 5. But I did just find myself going, oh my god, this is just two people figuring shit out, and it's just quite it's
basically
quite lovely
like this podcast, which we realised last week. We just to let everyone know, we had a quick exchange via text going, I think this podcast might be about being men and figuring out being men.
Yeah, maybe it should be called men lifing.
When you see men lifing, men mid-lifing. Men lifing mid. Anyway, see ya.
Bye.